Trish and Rob MacGregor welcome you to a place where all kinds of phenomena flourish. Here we meet authors, researchers, and investigators of the mysterious, the strange, and of the inexplicable anomalies that surround us. Step out of the everyday world and take a journey into the mystical underground.
We'll start in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Mystical Underground. Thank you for joining us. This is Trish MacGregor and
Rob MacGregor.
and our tech magician, the disembodied voice, John Posey. You can go to themysticalunderground.com. We make regular blog posts and where you can find out about our books. Among them are the 7 Secrets of Synchronicity, Sensing the Future, The Secrets of Spirit Communication, and Aliens in the Backyard. Our latest book is called Mind-Blowing Synchronicities, the latest stories, science, and research. Trish's most recent novel is Not Quite Human, and Rob's most recent novel is called Tulpas. If you're watching us on YouTube, we would appreciate it if you would take a second to click the like, subscribe, and notification buttons so you never miss an episode. If you prefer to listen to the show, it's available wherever you listen to podcasts, so please subscribe there.
Okay, our guest today is Danielle Egnew, who is a psychic, medium, angel translator, and musician. She has been featured on CNN, Discovery Plus, USA Today, The Washington Post, and many other broadcast and print outlets. Danielle was the angel consultant on CW's hit show Supernatural, as well as consulting on DC's Man of Steel and Lifetime's America's Psychic Challenge. She is the star of the TV docuseries The Road Angel, which I'd like to ask her about. And she is the author of True Tales of Truly Weird, and she is the front woman for the gritty 90s all-female band called Pope Jane, not to be confused with Pope Joan, which is a Canadian band. Danielle resides in Montana with her wife, Rebecca, and their 3 small, fluffy dogs. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. You got through that really well. That's like a lot, right? It's like so much. It's like, here's this girl from Montana. We're having her on. She talks about aliens and angels. Boom. Here we go.
Right,
Stick to the first letter in the alphabet.
Yeah. So what came first, rock and roll or psychic discovery for you?
Actually, what came first, what I always was a psychic person, but as a job, rock and roll came first, and then the psychic part came second.
Okay.
Well, tell me, what's the difference between angels and spirit guides?
Okay, so this is such a good question, and thanks for asking. So angels, you guys, they are this completely different being than just when we think of spirit guides, we're thinking of disembodied humans, or which would be different than our off-world spiritual guides. Some people were off-worlders in different lifetimes. So they got this family in, ghost family. They're not ghosts, but that are back here that are off-worlders. Angels are very specific, energetic beings, you guys. It's like, sister, it's like, what's the difference between a deer and a cat, right? The genus is just super different, and they operate differently. Their rules of engagement are different. They're multi-timbral beings, whereas our spirit guides tend to be a little less, they have less dimensional options that I've noticed anyway. Maybe we just don't want to wander that much when we are on the other side. We want to stay to the Belize beach in heaven. I don't know. But there is a big difference. It's vibrational. It is genus. It is the fabric of what they are and what they do.
Yeah. So are angels, were angels ever humans?
Not technically, which breaks my heart. Because right back here, you can't see it. It's a flat wall right here, right? There is a giant movie poster for my favorite movie, you guys. And It's a Wonderful Life. Is absolutely my favorite movie, and Clarence the Angel, and Let's All Get Our Wings. Technically speaking, angels were never human. They can put on a quick human suit for a quick job, but they got to get out of here. Human beings are our spirit guides. Grandma, we call her our guardian angel. Not really an angel, but call her what you want, man. She's around, so go.
Okay. Yeah. How did you make contact with angels?
This is an interesting question because I don't even think I can tell you the answer to that. I have always been hardwired to these beings, and so are you guys. Every single person watching this podcast, whether you believe in angels or not, and they're not some big religious weird thing, they've just been made into that. But that is not what they are. They're more like these massive nuclear reactors trying to assist in temporal chaos control, kind of, sort of, if they work with people. The other ones do lots of other stuff that has nothing to do with us. So I've always been connected to these guys, as just you guys are too. And I just immediately noticed it. And I was 17 years old, kind of a reverse answer to what you're asking me. I was 17 before I realized that everybody wasn't seeing, hearing, and experiencing what I was. That's how long it took me to figure out that I might be seeing the color orange and everybody else is seeing the color fuchsia. You know, it was weird. It was a weird thing.
Did your parents know that?
Pardon?
Did your parents know that?
I didn't tell them at first.
Okay.
Oh, girl, no. I had enough problems as a Gen X teenager. I was like, God, please don't take my Phantom of the Opera tape thinking it's demonic. You know, I was just like, give that back to me. I think my parents knew. It runs in our family. And my dad, I think my dad was like, he's a retired psychotherapist. So I think he was more like, okay, this could be a thing. Let's make sure you're not having a schizoaffective meltdown. But hey, man, outside of that, you're looking pretty good.
And when did the music start?
Oh, man. I've always done music as a little kid, and I grew up singing with this big Italian family around the piano. And then I did musicals in high school. I had a musical theater, full ride scholarship. And I went off and did that for a hot minute. And the program wasn't right for me. So much to my parents' deep dismay, I ended up quitting college, even though I had this beautiful scholarship from the University of Arizona. Just wasn't the right program. And I started doing it more professionally or as a career track when I was probably 21. I went up to Seattle, got my first record deal up there, and things kind of went from there.
What sign are you?
I'm a Pisces.
Really?
With I know it's weird, right?
Yeah.
I'm
for like a Libra or a Gemini or an air sign. That's interesting.
Okay. Well, no, nobody ever guesses me as Pisces, so you are in the majority of people. I am a Pisces with a Leo moon and a Cancer rising.
Oh,
and I do have Mercury in Gemini, so my communication, right? And almost all the rest of it is in fire. Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. It's my quote. Pray for her.
Pray for her.
Yes.
So, another subject. What are your thoughts about off-worlders?
Aliens.
You know, aliens, off-worlders, phone homers. You know, I have a lot of thoughts about this, and what I would really stretch out about that is that we, as human beings down here on the earth, I've noticed through my interactions with off-worlders, and I'm in contact with some races, not all races. It's like going to a bar, you guys. You just don't want to talk to everybody, okay? You're like, I'm not without you. I don't want
Notes.
Right? I mean, you don't want to talk to that one guy at the bar who's going to pick a fight with you, right? You're like, yeah, buddy, I've had a day. And we have some of our off-world cultures, or a little spicier. So the ones I tend to be in contact with are the ones that fly over our house all the time, heading to Big Pryor Mountain in the Pryors.
Oh,
And I'll ping them and they'll ping me. And I've had a big history with these guys. So my thoughts on them are that we probably should, as a species that shares a universe with millions of other way more sentient life forms, my thoughts are we should probably stop talking about them, human beings, like they are a possibility or an anomaly, considering we are the species that is really new to the party here, guys. I mean, we are really, really new. And especially those of us that come in. Yeah, look, you want to know? Okay, we're going to get gritty here just a minute. Look at how Cro-Magnon man out of humans, out of the hominins, all of a sudden sprung up coastally all over the world at the same time, guys. Okay. And that's just not how evolution works. Evolution starts here and branches out and branches out and branches out. And then you can see it spreading around. And all of a sudden, this hominin was everywhere coastally, wiping out over a 5,000 year period the indigenous beings that were here. So you got to just use your brain. You got to use this prefrontal cortex we kind of inherited from our off-world friends. And you have to ask yourself, why with this one hominin strain, why would it defy the actual evolutionary physics on the planet Earth and appear everywhere basically at the same time? We didn't have airplanes. You couldn't, email somebody and say, I'm coming for a visit.
Yeah.
So I think that if we would stop acting like there's a section of modern humanity that maybe, our little off-world friends, that Earth is like Vegas. What happens on Earth stays on Earth, right? They came here for a party, they left, and they're like, oh, you left too many gene pools behind there. That's not good. And it mixed in with the indigenous life. I think if we just accepted that, what we think of as God or the all or the creator, that we're not the pinnacle of its eye. If you read Genesis, it says on earth, and I don't even think that's true. I think God loves everything the same. So I that's my thoughts on off-worlders. And I think if we could just accept that and move on, we would solve a lot of our problems as a young person.
All this stuff about disclosure and lies. And, the government's take on all this is so stupid.
Thank you. Girl. Okay, I'm nodding. Okay, look, here's my thought on that. We in the ufology community, and I am not throwing one stitch of shade on anybody whose life's work is disclosure or documentation. People are called to different stuff, right? Mm. That being said, we spend so much time, in my opinion, in the weeds in the ufology community talking about whether or not the government actually, did they make a UAP? Yes. I think we all know that. I mean, you got Skunkworks and everybody else. I think we're all aware that that's happening. So with all of that out there, I would love to kind of like we're making a cake, right? I would love to fold in a little more conversation about the cultural ramifications, right, you guys, of our neighbors out here and our cousins. Hello. I think that would be a really important discussion to have rather than, well, I'm pretty sure they've re-engineered something that looks like a Dorito. Well, yes. And again, I'm not making fun of anybody. I've worked on those teams that have worked with that disclosure. So I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying it would be nice to see a little bit more cultural discussion.
More openness too.
Yeah. Geez.
And also awareness that they're probably not, at least not all of them or most of them, from another planet coming here on their spaceship, and they're like us, discovering us. They know about us. They may have put us here.
Thank you.
And it's you can't really get away from the paranormal aspect, the psychic, the interdimensional aspect of that communication with them. I mean, that seems inherent in it, and that's often skipped. I mean, the most mainstream stuff is just the hardware.
Yeah.
Is that dot a bug, or is it a bird, or is it a craft? Is it a foreign craft, or is it a alien craft? That's about the level that the mainstream world has gotten to. They haven't even talking about the aliens so much, and about heavens no, talking about abductions. We don't talk about that too much. So that's all.
Rob and I one night were at Barnes & Noble, remember this? And we had just looked in the UFO section, and we walk outside, and we both look up, and there's this big light. Nobody else is looking up. And so I said, okay, it's a craft. Rob says, yeah, it's got to be a craft. It's too bright, too big,
Yeah, Yeah, we had. I had found a book in Barnes and Noble, which usually doesn't have a very good UFO section, and that I'd never seen before. So I bought it, and we walked outside, and there, right above the parking lot, was this light, and we stood there for like, I don't know, more than 5 minutes watching it. People walking by, usually when you look up, people will also look up. Nobody looked up.
Yeah.
Nobody looked up. And then Trish said, well, I want to go to the drugstore, Walgreens. And so we drove about a quarter mile away. I stayed in the car. Trish went in. And there it is again. I'm looking across the street, and it's low over the golf course. And, it was in the only spot that I could possibly see it because there was too many trees around where I was parked. But it went to that one spot, and there it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys. Okay. So my experience is that if they want to ping you, they will. And if they want to just be part of the sky to other people, they will. Because all of this light bending, all of this, we call it telepathic, which I think gets kind of cheesy, but we don't have another word for it, right? We have all of this interdimensional telepathic communication with our off-world cousins. And if you're somebody like you guys, they're like, oh, these folks are cool, rock on. Hey, I like the section you were in at Barnes and Noble. Thanks for supporting the cause, and you're like, giant ass craft up there. And it's true though, you guys. And what you said, Rob, to your point, is so important because we don't in the ufology community, I feel, talk enough about what you guys experienced at Barnes and Noble. Everybody wants a scientific breakdown. What kind of craft was it? How big was it? What was the luminosity? What was the shape? And I'm not, again, no shade on any of that. I feel that for the folks in ufology who really, really want to treat this like a science, guys, science evolves, right? So we have to evolve it and say, okay, we have this set of data points. We are lacking these other set of data points. Let's begin to accrue like data points to be able to examine those. And now, thank goodness, I love this term, which just came out in Disclosure Day with Steven Spielberg on a more mainstream level, but they're talking about experiencers as opposed to abductees, And there are abductees, and that's a bummer for those folks. But like you guys, we're experiencers. You saw this craft. It was stuck in you. It wanted to be part of your Facebook page. It was like, oh, where are they going?
Well, listen to this, though. One night we're coming back from the town of Jupiter, and pull into this. We see something, and so Rob pulls into this park, and there are, 7 lights?
Yeah, red lights.
Red lights lining up in a particular formation. And there's a guy in the parking lot going, honey, this is UFOs. I know it is. He's yelling at his wife on the phone.
Yeah, he is a biker dude. Just pulled over, and he was terrified. I don't know if he's terrified or he's just amazed that
excited.
He said
He was
they're here.
excited, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And think about how many you guys think about if he's a biker dude and he's out in the middle of the forest, or he's in the desert. He's probably seen a lot of UFOs, right? And he's like, oh my God. I was in a parking lot of a grocery store in Billings, Montana, had a very similar situation to you. I walk out there, there's this I videoed it. I put it up on Facebook. There's this low, way too low. It's it's moving weird, and it's not a balloon, and it's not this, everybody's like, that's the ISS. It's not the ISS. It's not even on the trajectory on the app. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm staring up, and everybody's just walking by me.
Yeah.
And finally, I say to this guy who's walking, and he's all weird. He's weird, like he's just kind of tuned out. And I said, hey, do you see that up there? Doesn't that look like a UFO to you? And he looks up, and he saw it, and he looked at me, and he goes, I don't know. It just like nothing.
Wow.
Like there was no lights on. And he got in the car, and I'm like, I'm more scared of you, bucko, than that thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But they do that, you guys. They're like, look at this. I was in LA, same thing happened like you guys. Like nobody's looking up. I'm outside. When I lived in Los Angeles, I lived there for 12 years for work in music and TV and film. And I'm standing there, and I'm looking up, and there's this thing, and it's like, it looks like a ball and another ball and another ball. And remember those things that would go,
Yeah.
right? It looked like the middle part, right? And you can clearly see it, and it's up in the sky. And there was this woman who was our neighbor who didn't like me on a good day. And I'm standing in a parking place and I'm just staring up. So she goes to pull in and she honks her horn at me, scares the hell out of me. And I get out of the way and I say to her, did you see that? Did you see that? And she got out of the car and she looked at it and her eyes got huge. And she looked at me and she ran in the house and slammed it.
She probably thought you just landed.
She's like, your family's here.
Yeah, right.
Don't let them park in my spot, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So do you think there's any connection between aliens and angels?
I have noticed, actually, straight out, that a lot of our off-world communities who have been around a hell of a lot longer than we have, the folks from Utura, they call them Arcturians, online, the Pleiadians especially, they oscillate, and not all Pleiadians. There's many, many races of beings that are by the Pleiades and out from the Pleiades. But what we tend to call a Pleiadian being, those beings are oscillating, you guys, at such a high vibration. When they appear and I'm doing readings, and sometimes people have off-world guides, okay? They part of their family group or whatever. Here they come. They look like big blue columns of light. And angelic beings look like great big columns of light with big explosions of light coming out all over the place on them. So I see kind of how people could make a wing out of that, sort of, So I think that, I know that, I've observed that when say the Palladians, I feel bad saying that. I feel racist and weird. I'm leaving out a bunch. But when the folks that we say are from the Pleiades are there and angels come in, their vibration is so similar. And they're just sharing information in cubes the way that angels share information. They share information in big packed cubes. A context is attached in all dimensions within these cubes. Same with the folks from the Pleiades. They're doing this whole thing back and forth, and then the Pleiadian folks will dial it down for the girl in the monkey costume and be like, now we're gonna slow it down for you. But I do notice, yes, in answer to your question, Rob, that the angelic community works very well with our off-world beings, and they too have angels also. This is not some special thing just for people.
Yeah. So do you have any predictions on what this connection between off-worlders and humans will be coming up in
Soon?
5, 10, 20 years?
Well, how much time you got, Rob? How much time? Trish, pull up a chair. Here we go. What I've noticed is that I believe that human beings, I'm gonna give you what I believe, and then I'm gonna give you what I'm looking at psychically. Okay. I believe that human beings, person to person, overall, with very few exceptions, probably can comprehend that we might not be the only life in the whole millions of planets in the universe. Now, there's a few people that might choose to not believe that, okay? That's different than not being able to comprehend it at all. I think the people who can't comprehend it at all are quite small, very, very small. I think it's easier to not believe it, right? It's a tidier universe if we're just the ones that God thinks are the best and the only ones God knows, right? That's an easy win.
You have those like J.D. Vance, too, who think they're demons.
The aliens are demons thing?
Yeah, right.
Look who's talking. I mean, please.
I think that the prediction here that I would put out is that a majority of our species understands that we are not the top of the food chain in the galactic universe. We have great fascination. Look at how 1978, 1977, 78, Star Wars blew out. And look how Star Trek blew off. Yeah. And it's because in our DNA, you guys, we have something that's rattling around in there going, that sounds vaguely familiar, weird. And it's past an infatuation. And as you brought up earlier, Rob, a lot of these beings, they are from other worlds. They are also intra and interdimensional beings. And there are multiverses in those. There might not be anybody on Mars in the universe that we'll call it Earth 1. We'll rip off the Flash. Earth 1, our Mars has nobody. Earth 9 over here in this multiverse, Mars is completely populated because they haven't lost their atmosphere yet. So you can't have a Martian from a different multiverse. And I deal with that a lot in my work, which gets confusing for me. However, I think that people intrinsically understand that, and we're right on top, you guys. Here's my pretend watch I'm tapping here. We are right on top of a global agreement where humanity as a collectively, telepathically intertwined race, because we are, we're this far from everybody going, okay, yeah, we know we're part of a bigger thing. And you guys know the 51% rule, right? If there's 51% of anything, all of a sudden it might as well be 100% because it dramatically affects the momentum.
Tipping point.
Tipping point. Yeah, and so we've crossed that 51% threshold, especially in this area of human beings understanding that we're not the only thing in the galactic universe. So my prediction that as I look ahead is that more and more people think this is just normal, and we're going to have big craft, like you guys saw the craft in the sky, right? We're going to have big craft that are going to be easier to see because they're going to be assisting in trying to help us. Well, it has very little to do with us. They're going to try to help the planet's magnetic field a little bit because they use our planet as a place to come and go. And they have for millions of years before we were here. And we have affected a lot of the way that the planet works. So I'd love to say it's all about us and they're coming to help us, and not really. It's kind of like, guys, we've been maintaining this runway at LAX for 2 million years and y'all blew it up with fireworks. Okay, so now we got to come repair the runway. Y'all suck. But oh, hi, by the way. That's going to be more the energy of it. So that's my prediction. And I'm feeling that coming much sooner, especially the more we speak about, we're having this conversation, right? And that gives them more and more of an open doorway to go, okay, the only people who are going to freak out here are the 3 people in power still who think they can still control the world financially. Yeah. Nobody cares.
Let me ask you a question. Have humans had past lives as aliens?
Absolutely. I've only met a few humans, and this is true. Well, it's not true. I've met a pretty good handful of people who started their soul journey here on Earth. And they were repeat offenders. They were like, pass away, hang out a minute. It's like a boxing ring. You get 2 minutes, you go back in. You get 2 minutes, you go back in. Most people who come here, Trish, have had multiple lifetimes in other dimensions, in other realms. This is a high chaos environment. So to have somebody come here as your first life, that's mean. That's just mean. That's mean. It's not been my observation in my work that people who are here only have been some people have, but that's unusual.
Yeah. So in the movie Disclosure Day, the big concern was that if there's disclosure, the religions are going to collapse and everybody will be in chaos. Religions can't handle the aliens. That seems to be the message. What do you think?
I think the religions can absolutely handle the message that an all being would create more than us. I think the cults are going to have a problem with it. And there's a difference because I've done pastoral work. I'm a pastor. I don't really actively pastor anymore, but I noticed that there's a difference between people gathering in a spiritual way to connect with each other and connect with everything around them, and people who want to keep those people suppressed so they give them money. That's a cult. So I think the cults will blow out, and I think there will be members of those cults who will cling to the cult, and other people where that will be the deciding factor that they've been on the fence and they're like, I'm out, y'all are crazy. You guys look at the Pope. The Pope of the Catholic Church is like, yay, aliens. Woo, let's go.
Yeah. He's the best one yet.
Freaking Leo.
So you think we have a shot at evolving?
I do. And I'll tell you why. First of all, what does not evolve dies. And we're like a virus, man. We just keep coming around. So I think we absolutely are going to evolve. And we're evolving right now. And right now, guys, we're recording this during the Barol's Basket, which is that insane astrological aspect that was predicted by a French astronomer and astrologer a million years ago, well, in the 1800s. And so here we are, and I can feel, guys, on the spiritual level, the consciousness evolution, people detaching our Gen Zs from the internet and all kinds of weird things that they've been addicted to. Our Gen Zs coming out and saying we need to get back to the earth and connect. So indeed, we are evolving. And I believe very strongly that we're going to make it through this little keyhole. And we do have a bit of a keyhole right now that we're trying to get through. And it's kind of squishing everybody and it's not very comfortable. But what I get an opportunity to see is that there's so many of us, guys, right? And with this many of us, when we are connected through the heart and telepathically, that's our strength. It is powerful, right, Trish? I mean, it's our strength as human beings. We're the ones that think we're weak little maggot weirdos according to this or that religious book. Our galactic friends are like, you guys are actually really interconnected and cool. What's your problem? And we're just starting to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. But it seems the ones in power, the billionaires and all, seem to be holding us back in a lot of ways that, I'm sure there are some who are helping us, but
Billionaires? Who?
Well, this guy named, his last name Cuban. I think he's...
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban?
Okay,
I don't know.
he's the actor.
Yeah, how do you think about that?
Well, I think that the good billionaires don't need the headlines. So I don't think we're hearing about them at all. You know what I mean?
No.
It's the sociopaths, the narcissists, the people whose parents didn't hug them enough. I don't know what the problem is. But there's this need to hoard. There's this need to control resources, and all of it is illusion. And even those folks are here to teach us a lesson about what's real and what's not real. And we are, again, 51%. We're at that tipping point. As a collective, we're deciding, I think that's really that real. I mean, I dig me my Nike Airs, but I'm not going to lose my mind about it, you know? Mm-hmm. And we're starting to come in, as you were saying, Rob, we're starting to evolve past the illusion that the person with the most clamshells is the most powerful. And we're there right now. We are living through that time frame where the last of the monocle-wearing, cigar chomping guy. We're watching that last guy go over the waterfall here. So it's a fascinating time to be alive.
Okay.
So when is all of this going to settle? So that we can all benefit from it.
Settle is a good word, because I don't think it will ever entirely stop. As long as there are humans trying to learn lessons through the illusion of separation from source, we're going to have this malarkey. But we are right on top of it during this basket period in July. We're right on top of that moving through. And we're going to have into 2027 far more sociological and political advancements. And the political advancements help the whole, not just the one or two people. Mm-hmm. So that's nice going into 2027. We are going to encounter some turbulence in our landing of a more smooth United States. We're going to go through a storm front that's called deep economic impact from what we're doing right now. And it's going to keep rattling from 27 to about 2030. And once we hit about 2030, we finally, it's like landing in Portland. You're in the clouds for like 2 hours and then there's the runway, you know? So boom, we'll come down. And that's a very giant brushstroke of some incredibly intricate sociological, spirit, and psychological changes that we're going to be going through. But that's kind of the rough time frame. In the middle, though, Trish, you know what? We learn how to be together again.
That's great.
Love it. I know, man. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I remember days before cell phones. I'm in.
Yeah. We do too.
Yeah.
Although I must admit, the greatest technological advance for me, who has no sense of direction, is GPS.
And there's nothing wrong. I mean, if you think about it, right? There's nothing wrong, guys, with technology.
Yeah.
When we make it our God, when we give it all our resources, it's like there's nothing wrong with offworlders. We don't need to make them our God. Well, you can if you want to. Knock yourself out, people out there. Do you? However, they're just like us. They're just different, you know?
So how did you make the shift from rock and roll to doing psychic readings and pursuing the paranormal?
Ungraciously, Is how I did that. I was not the smoothest cat in that area. My band Pope Jane,
You're
which
Pisces. You should have been swimming.
I was in one part, and my Leo moon was just having a fit, man. It was having a career fit.
Yeah.
And so and many folks out there still follow Pope Jane and remember them. And I thank you guys. We love you too. That was a weird shift to make because I had a lot of identity and hard work and activism. We were this 2/3 gay band coming out in the 90s. It was Melissa Etheridge and us and Katie Lang that came out. That was it at the time. And so it was weird. I felt weird about it. And I made the shift. Truthfully, I made the shift because our contracts had worn out. The band kind of dissolved. We've been doing a lot for like 10 years, and about there, things get tired. And we had a significant band member stay behind in Montana. And then Kristen, the drummer, and I tried to patch it all back together again with some other great band members. And we had some great music, and we kept calling it Pope Jane, but it wasn't the same, It's kind of like Van Halen was never the same after David Lee Roth wasn't there. I mean, they went for a little bit, but then it was kind of done. So
I got to say, I'm sorry, blasphemy, but okay, keep going. No, I'm a Van Hagar fan, but go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm not saying they are grand, man. They are grand with Van Hagar. Yet the golden era, what the Van Hagars, you should write to them and tell them that. I happen to know, and I'm not.
I let Sammy know quite often. Yep.
Good. I might drink some of his tequila. Anyway, so but there's this whole thing going on, and I needed to make a career change because everything it just wasn't working, and I did nothing for a while, and I was really poopy pants about the whole thing. And I was not gracious about it. I was just like, I can't believe that. Because at the time, too, you guys, to be fair, I was in my 30s, and we still had, this is before the Me Too movement. Mm-hmm. And so I had there was a lot of gender bias, sexism, real weird, objective. I mean, now our young kids would never, ever put up with that stuff. And we figured out ways to just kind of navigate it, which was not functional, but it's what you did. So I just kind of got into it because I could do it. And we would be touring and somebody be bummed out and I'd be done off the stage and we'd be at the club afterwards and somebody's there and I'm just picking up their bummer vibes and they come over to talk to me about music and pretty soon they're crying because we're talking about all their deepest weird stuff and they're like, how do you know this? And I'm just like, I don't know, I guess it's a professional good guesser. I don't know. Probably the tequila. I don't know. So eventually I had a partner whose mother was very psychic and I was doing some healing work on her feet. And this was after Pope Jane kind of hit its wall and we were done. And I was working on her feet and I could feel how psychic this woman was. And I said, why aren't you reading for people? You have such a gift. And she's a triple Scorpio. And God. I know. She just looked right on through me and she said, why aren't you?
Ooh, that's a good answer.
Oh, don't see me. Come on, man. That was a lot. I got goosebumps even recounting that story. It was a lot. So I started waiting for people, and I'll spare you all the middle parts, but that's how it happened. And I literally went down to the Psychic Eye, which is a store in Burbank, California. I was living in LA, and I knew how to make a flyer because I was in a band for a million years. And I made a flyer with my face and I had nothing to say about a psychic career. So I typed up just some family history and they needed a psychic reader. And I handed the lady the flyer because I'm trying to present, do the best I can. And she's looking at me like, how do I know you? I'm like, I have no idea. I just have a face. You don't know me. So I'm like, and she's looking at it and she says, well, you have to give me a reading first.
Ooh.
And I thought, well, this is either going to crash and burn or be great, but I didn't even really know what I was doing. And I sat down and I had talked to angels, offworlders, interdimensionals my whole life. And here's her beings, her angels. And I said, what the hell do I do? And they said, take her hands. You'll get everything you need. And I took her hands and poof. So then I started talking to her And she kind of cut me off in about 2 minutes. And she's like, "You're hired. You start Thursday." Blah. And I'm just like, I went home and told my partner at the time, "I got hired as a sidekick. This is the weirdest. I don't even know what I'm doing. What am I doing?" But people kept coming back, and I just kept doing what I was doing. And then I got more comfortable with the identity of it. And that was
Now,
really
did you use cards or take objects like rings or anything like that to help you with your reading?
He's a Pisces, Rob. No.
No, I just would listen. I'm literally a professional translator, you guys. That's what I feel like, the lady with the earpiece at the end. And folks, I felt kind of like a fraud, because people would be like, "You're so amazing." And I'm like, "I'm not. I'm just repeating these guys. That's what they're saying." So what was interesting about that, Rob, was that when I went to work at the Psychic Eye, they said you have to read tarot, which you guys know is a discipline, right? 78 cards, each one can have up to 7 meanings. I'm like, how to do that? So I had this weird oracle deck that was super obtuse and strange. And I would just put down the cards and then I say, "Now what can I do for you?" And the person would ask the question, and then here comes all these angels. And I would maybe point to a card and answer. And pretty soon I quit doing that because I felt like such a tool doing that. But I was just like, "Yeah, I'm just going to answer you."
Yeah, okay.
That's a great.
Yeah, so that was the shift you made, but you've gone back to music still, right? A different kind of music, more folky, or?
I never quit doing the music. It just wasn't the job anymore. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't paying the bills anymore.
Yeah.
I kept going all through that. I went on to kind of an Americana. I wrote for some country artists for a while. I got an opportunity to write with Merle Hager's writers.
Wow.
We wrote this song called "Play Some Merle," and I put it up on YouTube a while back. And so I went on, and I was really more of an Americana country musical writer than a rock writer to begin with, which frustrated many a producer and my bandmates in Hope Gene. And they were like, "God, quit it. We don't need a Bible and a dog dying. We're a rock band." So, I continued to do music, and now I'm doing a lot of music just because I enjoy it. And
You do comedy too.
I did. Well, I was a theater major. I know that's shocking.
Okay.
But I was a musical theater major and a theater major. And I was in a comedy troupe in college. And that comedy troupe birthed a lot of great writers. I was in it with Alex Bays and Paul Goebel and all these folks who've gone on to write for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I love comedy, you guys. I never got the comedy roles. I always got the Meryl Streep roles, these very... And I'm like, can I be the weird lady who picks her nose? I want to be that lady. Come on. So now I can do that on TikTok because
Really.
Yeah.
Where was that when you were working with the comedy people?
University of Arizona. I was part of the University of Arizona theater program, and it was an extraordinary program.
Okay.
It just wasn't right for what I was looking for. And my parents were kind of like, "Go to college, you have us worried." So when I got this scholarship, I was like, okay, I'll go. And I did feel bad. I mean, that's money they assigned to me. I hope they gave it to somebody else, just because I didn't need it. But yeah, it was the U of A, and it was called Comedy Corner, was the group that did all the comedy back then.
Okay. Tell us about Road Angel. I want to hear about that. This was a series of documentaries you did going around the country, right?
That's what it was slated to be. The Road Angel was the brainchild of that was Mary Erickson, producer Mary Erickson. And she and I talked a whole lot about that. And we brought on associate producer Melissa Siana. And, we started kind of formulating different, Mary's idea was you go to towns and you help people. That was Mary's platform. That was her idea. And so we shot a pilot for that show that got interrupted through COVID. And then that got crazy, that trying to find, people to edit and do all these things. So it was shot over this weird amount of time, right? All throughout COVID and afterwards and getting it tucked up. And we finally got it out and we entered it into film festivals. And it was really great to have it accepted at the Mint Film Festival, where that's around the corner from my house here in Montana. It's the Montana International Film Festival, which gets a ton of applicants in it. And so we screened there. We had a full house. It was super fun. And right now, we never got more episodes made because we're kind of trying to figure out what to do with it right now. But it was an extraordinary experience, and the actual pilot itself, it's really, really cool.
What would you do for further episodes?
We would go around Montana. We have a bunch of episodes mapped out, different places we go. Some of those might change. I get directed by the angelic realm a lot and redirected, and there's no explanation. It's just like, that's not relevant. This is now relevant. So the people who shot the Road Angel, you guys, my shooters, they were from Nat Geo. They had to get a take in one take because they're following me around. It's like shooting news, you're not doing it over and over and over again. So, and I helped people in the town of Red Lodge and tried to help some of the bigger sociological problems. So I would go around and do that to different towns, cities, wherever on the earth.
Mm-hmm. So you had
Florida, we need help.
I'm there. We'll go swimming afterwards. Just keep me away from the bull sharks. I'm in.
Right. Yeah. So you had some contact with the TV show Supernatural, right?
Yes.
What was that involved? What was that like?
That was awesome. And I had a person who came to visit with me as a client who was involved in the show. And they were asking me some questions, and it was year 3 in, and they were going to cancel it. They were going to can it. They'd run it as far as they could. And this individual's there. I'm in LA. They're getting a reading asking, hey, how can we get this show to go? They didn't tell me what show it was at all. And I'm talking with this individual, and then kind of off to the side of this person, I'm seeing Sam. I'm seeing Dean. I'm seeing all these people, and I'm like, and I flip out because I love Supernatural, and I kind of got a little unprofessional. I'm like, oh my God, do you work on Supernatural? I love that show, and I'm freaking out. And this person's like, how did you know that? And I said, well, you shouldn't be paying me if I don't know that. But, so then we got to talking, and I just blurted it out. I said, why don't you incorporate angels? You do demons, you do every other thing. There's no angels. And this person said to me, she says, well, we've tried, but we can't figure out a way to do it. It's so saccharine and weird. And I said, you have never met an angel. They are powerful. They're terrifying. They're awkward. They're weird. And then we proceeded to meet for a good year and 2 years. And this person would come and ask me questions. How would an angel answer this question? Castiel was born out of these conversations. How literal are angels? How do they react to people? And of course, Misha Collins did an amazing job interpreting this. And she did an amazing job writing all of this. And I was just this consultant who kept explaining, no, they're terrifying. They're scary. If you look at them, they'll blow your eyeballs out. You can't do that. And I remember I was in LA and I got this email, and she sent me this email and said, you need to watch this episode tonight. So I tune it in, and there's this character of this psychic, you guys. And she was wearing this tank top and bell bottoms, and she had this kind of crazy hair. And she was using all this terminology that I used in our conversations. And by God, she looked at the angel and got her eyeballs blown out. And I was just writing my friend's back. And I'm like, oh, she made the wrong move, man. And I was thanking her because I really, I can't prove this, but I really felt like my friend was kind of giving me a nod, like, definitely. Hey, man. And my partner at the time was like, oh my God, she's dressing exactly. She looks just like you. I'm like, yeah, but her nose is so much smaller. Look at her cute little nose. Look. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with the paranormal in television and movies is that it's got to be scary, and that's...
But not in books. It doesn't necessarily have to be scary in novels, Rob.
Well, not necessarily.
The TV aspect, you guys, in the mid-aughts, everything was a demon on the ghost hunting shows.
Yeah.
And I was on some of those shows, and they're gonna remain nameless. But everybody had these little, I've got these, I'm listening to you guys, right, in my ears. And they had these little earbuds in, and they're telling you as you're the psychic wandering through, they're like, okay, can you act like you see a demon in the corner? And I would just blow off the line producer. I just keep on going because I'm like, well, there's actually ghosts back here that we can talk to. And they can tell us about history. And they can tell us about all kinds of things. And I've got this person. To this day, I have a hearing deficit in my right ear, partially from having a guitar cabinet in Pope Jane there, and partially through line producers just screaming, stop, stop, stop. You're missing the mark. And I just kept going, and I would engage another ghost. And pretty soon the little machines are going off, and they had to let it roll because something was happening. So I wasn't a fan favorite. I didn't get asked back when that happened. So
That was their
Well, and you know what? Something I've just noticed on TikTok over the last couple of weeks is, and we were talking about AI before the show. There seems to be a lot of AI videos going up on TikTok showing what appears to be possessed people going in weird positions and stuff. I mean, it's a very specific video that seems to keep popping. I mean, variations of that video that keep popping up. But yeah, no, it's a thing. Yeah. So, but it's kind of repeating what you're describing from the reality show stuff. Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah. Everybody wanted it to be a demon. And half the demons, you guys, they were elementals that were pissed because we cut through water lines. And I mean, that's a lot of times that's where your 3 scratches comes from. We have a ton of elementals out here in Montana. So, I mean, and sometimes in a rare case, you have demons. But my God, does the geomagnetic, spiritual, social, everything have to be housed right so that those beings can even make it on this side of the veil? It's hard for them over here. It's hard. It's too light. It's light. They mostly just nudge us and have us doing insane things until we plug into them and think we're superhuman until we run off the bridge. That's more their thing.
Yeah. How do you feel about drugs and contacting the other side?
In which way?
Well,
Yeah, be specific, Rob.
well, I'm just thinking of that guy that John brought on our show a couple years ago.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Well, that's an extreme example, but maybe just could we just go back to like the 60s and just talk about psychedelics? Yeah.
Well, Ethan, okay, so the reason I was asking you which kind, like what are we talking about here? Because you can do drug when we're drunk, when we're augmented in any way, we remove the matrixing mechanisms. The prefrontal cortex is like, dude, oh my God. So we will notice a lot of things that are there.
Yeah.
And it's really, I've seen people who got addicted to methamphetamines and fentanyl and all these things, and they have these weird looking, they're this shaped. They're shaped like this, and they're probably, I'd say, 2 to 3 feet this way and maybe 18 inches to 2 feet this way. And they look kind of like what you would think some kind of mollusk looks like, except they've got a really specific ridge in what would be like a shell. And they are like a barnacle. They are stuck all over that person's energy field. And the more they eat out of that person's energy field, pretty soon they're just on them. And this is a spiritual issue. And so and it gives them great strength. It gives them all kinds of things. I've seen people who were regrettably addicted to heroin, totally different entity that hangs out. It's solitary. There's only one. It looks like an interdimensional to me. Just no features at all. Very, very gray, very, very thin, real spindly arms and legs, not like an alien, more like a really emaciated person with absolutely no features, and they're gray. And this one thing would follow this person around. They weren't as aggressive as these other barnacle-y things. So there are different beings, I think, that are attached to alcohol of all things. Well, you want to whip up some mean interdimensional and demonic stuff. Oof, that's what that tends to be attracted more so to that vibration. Now, I can't tell you why, you guys. I don't know that answer. This is just if I were making lists of things I've noticed over the years, and it's not going to say if you drink a beer, you have a demon. So let's not go there. But I do think that there is, as is everything, some amazing ways to use chemical brain augmentation to experience the world around us. I see a lot of people exploiting plant medicines like mad, going on, hosting ayahuasca trips when ayahuasca has a plant deva that walks with it, and she is one hefty enchilada. And you don't bastardize that. You don't use it for fun. She will mess with you in that trip. And so we don't talk about that because we're too busy talking about what it does to your brain.
Yeah.
We don't even look into the spiritual aspects of that. So I think like anything else on planet Earth, I think with moderation and consideration and respect, any augmentation device could be useful. And I think a lot of people use drugs in the spiritual field, many, not a lot, tend to use it like a roller coaster. It's fun for them, you know? And I think they get that lesson all on themselves. That's never a good one.
So one that's not so fun, but can be really very experiential, especially with unusual animals, is ayahuasca. I mean, it'll make you throw up, feel terrible, but you might see a huge serpent or a tiger coming in your face, and intelligent ones.
Yeah, the animal spirits, right? They come in and they communicate, and we purge out all our toxins first, and some of the toxin from the ayahuasca. I've never done it, but I've read for people who have. And in that case, that's an amazing opportunity to hear what that being has to say.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, my criticism more so comes from there's a lot of folks out there that I would love to see be a little more respectful with our plant medicines when they're guiding people.
Yeah. I always wanted to do ayahuasca. We used to lead adventure tours up the Amazon River up to Iquitos, Peru.
Writers.
Yeah, and for writers, and that was where it was happening. But we were leading the tour, and we just couldn't, get involved with it, because it wasn't a tour for that purpose.
Well,
I mean,
the guide said to us, "You want to go try some ayahuasca?" We said, "Yeah, sure." And he said, "Well, it's 3 days from here." I thought, "Oh God, 3 days going through the Amazon? No thanks."
Oh, that's a lot. I'm a Montanan, and I might even raise a big fat eyebrow at that. I'm like, oh, snakes can eat me. No,
right.
That's awesome, though. How neat that you guys did that. I love that you guys have such a history in actually being in fascinating places all over this planet. That's cool.
Yeah, we were fortunate to make contact on. We were travel. Yeah, we were travel writers when we first started out and left our jobs, left the regular army, and went freelance. Nice. And on an airplane to Nashville we got hooked into with travel agents would get these cheap or free tickets to go to different cities or places, and they would try to sell them to their clients, and we would write about them. And nice. we met a Colombian guy who had come to Miami and had opened a travel agency, and he sat next to us, and before we knew it, we were working for Avianca Airlines, leading tours to South America, to the Andes and Amazon. We did that for several years until we had a daughter.
That is so cool, you guys. That's like my dream life. Wow. That's so good.
We would get paid for doing that. That's what
that's what was great.
You guys, that's so cool. And that was back before, too. I've noticed that a lot of these areas have been heavily overrun more so with the tourism, and no shade on anybody. Yet it was different, I would imagine, back before. It was everybody was going to Machu Picchu and everybody was going to, blah, blah, blah.
It was fantastic.
I think that's...
this was a situation where people were afraid to go to Colombia. It was on the State Department's no travel list, but we would go there. We would take people there, and we would cruise in and cruise out, and 5 to 7 days, and we never had trouble.
I also was born and raised in Venezuela and speak Spanish, so that also helped.
That is massive. Yeah. The language, yes. Yeah. And you had the vibe. You knew how to just kind of go.
Right.
That's
and,
awesome.
Sometimes you just have to pick up the clues. Like one time we were walking in Bogota, and we had a couple of people just wanted to go off on their own, and one of them came back and said, "Wow, we're going to go down that road." And this guy stopped us and said, "Don't walk down here. They'll steal the glasses off your face." And he goes, I don't want to lose my glasses." So
well, I guess you didn't walk down that road.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been great, Danielle.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, you
so much
guys.
for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. This was
Thanks
fun.
for having me, you guys. This was really, really fun. I love your show. You guys are fun, and I love that you're just talking about the issues that need to be talked about from the ufology community to the paranormal community. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, if you
Thank
hear anything more from the ETs, let us know.
I hear from them
I'm
all
dying
the
to
time.
interview an ET.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
do you get visions, or is it just through hearing?
I can see what they're doing in my mind's eye. I can also, they'll just give me downloads of information.
Yeah.
When I've been, and I know we're almost on our time here, when I've been on certain mountaintops, there's been some very poor, I had a cultural miscommunication with some folks from Sirius that was not good. They weren't trying to be as raunchy as it ended up them being. They thought I actually meant I want to get on your ship. I was drinking beer by a campfire and said, come back, I'll get on. And I'm like, oh, wait. I didn't know that, So we had few misunderstandings along the way, but yeah, I've seen them as well. So I've had a couple of abduction issues that were weird that I wrote about in my book. So, I mean, I've had a lot of experience with these guys, and overall, we get along.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk about your book. The title again, can you tell us? The
True Tales of the Truly Weird, you guys. You can get that on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all of them.
Okay, great. How about people who...
I'd love to read for you guys, so you can hit me up on my website. Oh, you would be so great.
Hang on. Do that again, because it glitched out on my side. So I'm not. Rob, you started to say how about if, and then it kind of froze up for a second. So whatever happened after that, I just got what happened after that. So I think you were asking her, how can people get in touch with her? I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, I was asking how.
Just do that again. Do that again.
Okay. So, Danielle, how can people get in touch with you if they'd like to have a reading?
I would love to read for you guys. You can get in touch with me on my website, which is Danielle Egnew, EGNEW-advisor.com. You can go to all of my socials. You guys follow me on my socials, because I actually like to really talk to you on my socials. It's fun. I don't do readings through socials, but you can sign up for readings there. You can hit up my podcast, which is Insight Radio. And Insight is INPSIGHT. It's on all the carriers. But if you go to my website, you guys, it's got all the goodies.
Okay. Sounds
What
good.
was your website again, Ellen?
It's Danielle Egnew, EGNEW-advisor.com.
Thanks for joining the Mystical Underground. Visit www.themysticalunderground.com for the latest blog post and book info. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Listen to the podcast at podcast.themysticalunderground.com. Follow Trish and Rob on Instagram at Trish and Rob MacGregor. Follow us on Twitter at TheMysticCast. Send email to podcast@themysticalunderground.com. And until next week, thank you for listening and stay mystical.